Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Much Abrew About Nothing. So this week, we got a special episode. We're playing a deck that I've been messing around with lately, having some success with. This is 5-color Azcanta Friends. Basically, Super Friends powered by Search for Azcanta, and we're going pretty deep. The deck is super crazy, super fun. So basically what happened is I built this deck, started playing with it. I went 5-0 in the 2-player queues on Magic Online. I was like, maybe this deck actually is like somewhat legit. So today, we're going to be taking 5-color Azcanta Friends through a competitive league on Magic Online, really putting it to the test, see if it can compete on kind of one of the higher levels of play on Magic Online. Anyway, a quick reminder before we break down 5-color Azcanta Friends for Ixalan Standard. If you enjoy this deck, and you enjoy Much Brew About Nothing in general, it would be amazing of you if you could take a quick second, click that subscribe button down in the corner of your screen. It's a great way to support the channel and the site for free. So let's talk 5-color Azcanta Friends, and of course we gotta start off with the namesake enchantment, Search for Azcanta. So Search for Azcanta is kind of turning into one of my pet cards from Ixalan. We see it seeing play in tier decks, like control decks, where people are using it just to flip it around after doing some pseudo scrying, filling the graveyard, and then they're digging for like counter spells, removal spells. But remember, Search for Azcanta hits any non-land, non-creature permanent once it flips around, which means you can do a lot more with it than just getting negates and getting essence extractions and stuff like that. So our deck today is looking to tutor up probably the most powerful non-creature, non-land card type in all of Magic, looking to tutor up planeswalkers. So Search for Azcanta really does two things. In the early game, it comes down and fixes our mana, essentially, letting us dump expensive cards into our graveyard to find our lands, to fix our colors, which is really important because we're playing 5 colors. Our mana is ultra greedy. And then in the late game, we flip it around. In every turn, it's just pay 3 mana, tap it, get a planeswalker. Pay 3 mana, tap it, get a planeswalker. So it just gives us this steady stream of planeswalkers turn after turn after turn. And that's the plan of the deck, is we're just going to overwhelm our opponent by brute force planeswalker powering our way through the match. So what are we using for planeswalkers? We start off with our 2 cheapest planeswalkers. So getting into the trials, Chandra Torch of Defiance are essentially removal spells, also on planeswalker bodies. Gideon comes down, we plus it on a creature so we're not taking damage from Rogue Refiners or whatever our opponent happens to have. And then eventually, once the game's in hand, we can turn it around into a 4/4 beater. And the ultimate's actually pretty relevant as well in some situations, since Gideon is maybe the least powerful of our planeswalkers. Once we get a bunch of planeswalkers on the battlefield, our opponent's probably trying to deal with other things, kind of forgetting about Gideon a little bit, which means it's just keeping us alive thanks to the emblem for a bunch of turns. Chandra, on the other hand, does so many good things for this deck. It comes down, generates card advantage, often comes down and just kills a creature like a weird sorcery speed expensive removal spell. The ramping part of it is actually really important to the deck too. It kind of gives us this weird nut draw with our more expensive planeswalkers, Vraska, Relic Seeker, and Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh. So probably the most powerful thing our deck can do is just play a Chandra on turn 4, on the next turn, plus it for mana, slam a Vraska, slam a Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh on turn 5, and that is a lot of loyalty and a really powerful planeswalker for our opponent to have to deal with. Vraska makes some tokens for chump blocking, kills some stuff, ultimating it, eventually wins us the game. All we gotta do is plus a Chandra or something after the ultimate, wins the game. And the Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh is just the hardest to beat planeswalker in our deck. It comes down, empties our opponent's hand, gets us random cards from the top of their deck, eventually sweeps away their entire board or just goes face with the 7 damage. So we got on this slide basically our cheap efficient planeswalkers and then our big finishing planeswalkers. But we have more planeswalkers than just these. We have a bunch of one-of planeswalkers as well. And remember, since we're built around Search for Azcanta, even though all these planeswalkers are only one-ofs, it's not that uncommon that we find them, because we're digging every turn, 4 cards deep, search for Azcanta, 4 cards deep, search for Azcanta, so even though they're one-ofs, we're likely to hit them sooner or later. Dovin Bond gives us another card advantage engine, almost works like Gideon, where it shuts down a creature for a turn with the +1. Huatli is another one of our gum up the board token making planeswalkers, just making us a dinosaur every single turn to defend our other planeswalkers. Nissa Vital Force is super sweet. A lot of times we just play it, plus it once, and then ultimate it, so we can draw an extra card every turn to find even more planeswalkers. The negative ability, also really good at getting back any of our other planeswalkers from the graveyard. So if we have a Nicol Bolas that died, a Vraska that died, Nissa just comes down, gets it back, even more powerful planeswalkers. And then Ajani is just a one-of, like the rest of these planeswalkers, but it is super sweet in a bunch of different ways. It deals with Hazrets, deals with Scarab Gods with the -2. The +2 gives us a ton of value because we are playing a lot of non-land permanent cards in our deck. All of our planeswalkers, so we're just cycling through and grabbing more planeswalkers. And then the big payoff is like the ultimate. If we can ultimate a Johnny Unyielding, normally the 5 loyalty counters it puts on all of our other planeswalkers means that we just immediately get to ultimate all of our other planeswalkers as well. We're ultimating our Chandra to deal a bunch of damage. We're ultimating our Nicol Bolas to wipe away our opponent's board, our Vraska to put our opponent to 1 life. So it's really sweet if we get to the point of ultimating a Johnny Unyielding. So those are our planeswalkers. That's our primary game plan. Search for Azcanta, filter to fix our mana, play planeswalkers every turn. The rest of the deck, we got a bunch of different removal. Harness Lightning gives us just the most powerful removal spell in the format, plus the energy is really important. Our mana, like I said, super sketchy, so Harness Lightning's energy is actually key to powering up our Ether Hub, so we can actually cast all of our crazy planeswalkers. Abrade is mostly just a hedge against like God Pharaoh's Gift, a hedge against things like Heart of Kirin that show up on occasion. I mentioned on Twitter earlier, kind of my philosophy for Standard right now is you gotta pass 2 tests. You gotta pass the Long Tusk Cub test on turn 2, which is where Harness Lightning and Abrade come in. It kills the Long Tusk Cub so we don't die to it. The second test you gotta pass is the Hazaret/Scarab God test that comes a bit later in the game, and that's where our Ixalan's Binding and Cast Out comes in, along with like our Ajani, for example, is a really good answer to those cards as well. But Ixalan's Binding Cast Out just gets rid of anything. Ixalan's Binding forever. Cast Out has the upside of cycling away if we're having mana trouble, which does happen on occasion. Then we got a bunch of Wrath, couple of Settle the Wreckage, good at getting rid of indestructible stuff, a little bit faster than Fumigate, and then Fumigate's our primary Wrath, gaining us some life, clearing the board. We have 0 creatures in our main deck, so it's a great card to take advantage of in a creature-free deck since it's only hurting our opponent. Plus, being creature-free also means the Fatal Pushes and Harness Lightnings and so forth our opponent has in their hand just going to be rotting in hand, doing absolutely nothing. So we're kind of giving our opponent some mulligans by intentionally not playing Servant in the Conduits and stuff like that. Since we can't play creatures, we use enchantments for ramping. So Gift of Paradise, New Horizons, help us ramp into our expensive planeswalkers. More importantly, help us fix our mana. And we're going to spend the next couple minutes talking about the challenge of making our 5-color mana base work. Gift of Paradise, New Horizons, really essential. Attune with Ether is also super important. Not only does Attune with Ether fix our mana by getting us a basic land of our choosing, it also powers up our Ether Hub. So the combo of Attune with Ether and Ether Hub, combined with our other enchantment fixing, is really what makes this deck work. Like, these cards allow us to actually cast all 5 colors of planeswalkers really consistently. And while the mana looks really janky and looks really questionable, it actually works better than you'd think. So Attune works well there. Also super important, searching up some of our basics. We have some of each color. Evolving Wilds, kind of like our backup Attune to fix our mana that way. Then we have a bunch of dual lands, Blooming Marsh, Botanical Sanctum, Rootbound Crag, Sunpetal Grove, all of them focused on green because that's where our fixing is. We really got to be able to cast that Attune on turn 1, our enchantments like New Horizons on turn 3, and then we have a couple of Scavenger Crowns. I kind of figured our mana's already so crazy anyway, can it really get any worse if we throw in a couple of Scavenger Grounds? I think Scavenger Grounds super powerful right now because of God Pharaoh's Gift, because of Scarab Gods. There's a lot of decks it's good against, and we can always use it as a target for our New Horizon type effects, our Gift of Paradise type effects, to make Scavenger Grounds actually tap for colored mana, especially in matchups where we don't think we're going to need to sack it. Sideboard-wise, Authority of the Councils for Ramanamp Red, which can be a challenging matchup, Duress and Negates for controlling matchups, and then a bunch more removal for kind of creature-y matchups. Ixalan Binding for Scarab Gods, Hazarats, other like non-creature permanents like the stuff from the token deck, Authority of the Councils, and so forth. Abrew to come in and kill Longtusk Cubs on turn 2, also God Pharaoh's Gift and other artifact threats, and then another Fumigate, and that is 5-color Azcanta Friends for Standard. And that's our Much Brew deck for this week. So I think this deck is super sweet. As I mentioned, you're going to see the first league that I've played with this deck. That's what we're going to be delving into today, but had a lot of success with it in the 2-player queues, and while it looks crazy on paper, I'm actually really impressed with how powerful this deck plays. Like, we just have so many super powerful cards that even if our opponents bring in Duresses, bring in Negates, eventually we just overwhelm them with value, and Search for Azcanta is the key. There's no card in our deck we want to see more in our opening hand than our Search for Azcanta. If we have a Search for Azcanta on turn 2, our mana works beautifully, our deck functions wonderfully, we just start playing all these massive planeswalkers, curving out so many powerful threats and take over the game. So that's really the card that makes it work. But while the mana is a little sketchy, admittedly, we have a ton of power, we got good removal, we got some decent fixing, and we got Search for Azcanta. So the deck is super sweet, the deck is super fun, and surprisingly competitive. Anyway, let's get to the videos. I'll stop rambling on about 5-color Azcanta Friends. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the gameplay videos, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, take a second and click that like button down below. It's a great way to help support the channel for free. And you can find the next video in the playlist right here.